हेलो गाइस, आज हम लोग करने वाले क्लास 10 का ट्रेजर ट्रोव स्टोरी बुक चैप्टर नंबर 7 द लिटिल मैच गर्ल, जो कि हैंस क्रिस्टन एंडरसन ने लिखा है। अब बिना कोई देरी किए हम उसका आंसर क्वेश्चन में जाते हैं। पहला क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 का 1, व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ स्लीपर्स हियर? हाउ हैज शी लॉस्ट देम? आंसर, it was bitterly cold, snow was falling and darkness was gathering when the poor little girl was walking bareheaded and barefoot through the streets, because of which her feet were red and blue with the cold. She lost them while she ran across the streets to escape from two carriages that were being driven terribly fast. One slipper could not be found, and a boy had run off with the other, saying that it would come in very handy as a cradle some day when he had children of his own. Question number 2. Describe the time, the weather, and the setting. It was the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. It was bitterly cold, snow was falling, and darkness was gathering. In this weather, a poor little girl walks on the road to sell matches to earn some money. Question number 3. Why is the little girl here? Should she have been out at this time? Give reason. The little girl went out to sell some matches. She should not be out at this time because it was bitterly cold, snow was falling, and darkness was gathering. Question number 4. Describe the plight of the little girl. In the cool and gloomy weather, the little girl walked bareheaded and barefoot through the streets to sell matchsticks. Nobody had bought any from her, and no one had given her a single penny. All day she crept along, shriveling and hungry. Question number 5. Why cannot she go home? Give 2 reasons. She cannot go home because she had sold no matchsticks. Second, she had not earned a single penny. Third, her father would beat her. Fourth, it was so cold at home. Question number 3. 1. Why did she huddle down and weep? It was bitterly cold, snow was falling, and darkness was gathering. So, to keep herself, she huddled down. She huddled down in a heap in a corner formed by 2 houses, one of which projected further out into the street than the other. Question number 2. What time of day and year was it? What was the significance of both? It was the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. New Year was the beginning of a new life. After death of the little match girl, the last evening of the old year was the last night of the little girl's miserable life. Question number 3. How did everything else in her surroundings contrast with the girl's condition? The little girl crept along the streets, struggling and hungry to sell matches, but nobody had bought any from her. Question number 4. How did her feet and her hands feel? Why? Her feet was red and blue with cold, and her hands were almost numb with cold. This is because she walked about the streets on her naked feet, and she did not have gloves to cover her hands' palm. Question number 5. Explain what happens to the girl at the end of the story. At the end of the story, her grandmother took her granddaughter in her arms, and both flew joyfully together far away from this glacious earth, away from cold, hunger, and fear, to be with God. Question number 4. 1. What did she pull out? How did it burn? Give two correct words for the blanks. She pulled out a matchstick. It slippered and burnt. It had a warm, bright flame like a teeny candle. Two correct words for the blanks are teeny and candle. Question number 2. What did she dream about immediately after the extract? She dreamed about as if she was sitting in front of a great iron stove with polished brass knobs and brass ornaments. The fire burned so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. Question number 3. How has she reached this situation? Describe her current condition. She had pulled out a matchstick and burnt it, which had a warm, bright flame like a teeny candle. And she seemed to be in this condition where she was sitting in front of a great iron stove. In her current condition, she had huddled down in a heap in a corner formed by two houses, one of which projected further out into the street than the other. Question number 4. What did she carry with herself? Why? She carried a great many matches and she had a packet of them in her hand because she used to sell them to earn some money. Question number 5. How was the life of this little girl different from others in general of this special day? Which day was it? On this special day, everyone was enjoying and was celebrating New Year's Eve. But the little girl had to sell matchsticks in cold and gloomy weather. It was the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. Question number 5. 1. What was special about particular evening in the story? The special thing about the particular evening in the story is that it was the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. The weather was bitterly cold. Snow was falling and darkness was gathering. Question number 2. What wonderful thing has been described already? The wonderful thing which had been described already was that she seemed as if she was sitting in front of a great iron stove with polished brass knobs and brass ornaments. The fire burnt so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. Question number 3. What is the significance of the goose action? What did it carry on its back? When the goose hopped down from the dish, it waddled across the floor, waddled straight up to the little match girl, and then went out the match. It carried a knife and fork in its back. Question number 4. What do you think has the girl seen? Where was she? The girl saw the room where a shining white cloth was spread on the table, which was covered with beautiful china, and in the center of it stood a roast goose stuffed with prunes and apples, steaming deliciously. And the goose hopped down from the dish, waddled across the floor with craving knife and fork in its back. She huddled in a corner formed by two houses. Question number 5. How do the dreams contrast with the reality? In her dreams, she could see a room where a shiny white cloth was spread on the table, which was covered with china. And in the center of it stood a roast goose, stuffed with prunes and apples, steaming deliciously. While in reality, she had huddled down in a heap in a corner formed by two houses. Question number 6. 1. What did the little girl reach forward? 2. Describe that object. The little girl reached forward to touch the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree was decorated with thousands of candles which lit up its green branches and gaily colored balls. Question number 2. Why did the girl comment that? How does this comment become significant later? The girl comments like that because the Christmas tree which she had seen in her third vision was much bigger and lovelier than the Christmas tree which she had seen last year in the rich merchant's house. Question number 3. Apart from the Christmas tree in the extract, another Christmas tree has also been mentioned earlier. What has been said about it? The girl said that last year she had seen a beautiful Christmas tree through the glass doors of a rich merchant's house. Question number 4. Who has loved the girl the most and who has ill-treated her the most? What is said about them both? The little girl's old grandmother had loved her the most. Her father had ill-treated her the most. Her grandmother was gentle, kind, and loving. Her father used to beat her in case if she did not earn any money. Question number 5. What are your feelings for the little girl? I felt very sad for the little girl as she was a kid and was sent outside to sell matchsticks in bitterly cold weather where the snow was also falling and darkness was gathering. Question number 7. 1. With what is the flagging up of the matches compared? How did the grandmother look? The flaring up of the matches are compared to a blaze which was brighter than broad daylight. Her old grandmother seemed so beautiful or so stately that she never had before. Question number 2. What does stately mean? Why do you think she looked so stately? Stately means grand. Her grandmother looked so beautiful or so stately that she never had seen before. Question number 3. What did the people comment? The author ends the story with but no one knew. What did no one know? People commented that she was evidently trying to warm herself. No one knew that what beautiful visions she had seen and in what a blaze of glory she had entered with her dear old grandmother into the heavenly joy and gladness of a new year. Question number 4. What was discovered the next morning? How did she look? On the New Year morning, the girl was found frozen to death at the corner of a house. She still held the matches, half a packet of which was burnt. There was a smile on her lips and rosy cheeks. Question number 5. Where did the grandmother take her? What will they never know there? Why her grandmother took her in her arms and both flew joyfully together far away from this callous earth, away from cold, hunger, and fear to be with God. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and thank you.